Two's company, but not three, that's too much company.
Nailed it.
Hello and welcome back to episode 3 of Two's Company, a fortnightly podcast hosted by cold water swimmer Sophie Hellyer. Say hi, Soph.
Hi.
And me, Grace Kingswell, nutritional therapist Grace Kingswell. So bad at intros. In today's episode, we are going to be discussing hereditary peers, which is something new for both Sophie and I. Orlando Bloom's, what would be the correct adjective for this? Fantastic, I think, is the word. Article in the Sunday Times magazine that went viral. We'll be doing some vagina facts. We'll be talking about the people that we love on the internet and giving you some recommendations of things we've been loving this week. I'd also just like to tell you that this episode is sponsored by Exhale Coffee. Coffee that is free from mycotoxins, heavy metals and pesticides. But I'm going to tell you more about that later and give you a discount code to try some for yourself. So,
Yay.
let's get cracking. Band meeting. Sophie?
Present. Grace?
Present. Yes!
Did we get it right?
Yeah, we did. Because last time you said my name when I was supposed to
Okay.
say my name. Anyway, how are you?
So this podcast, you guys will be listening to it on Wednesday. I think it's coming out.
Yeah.
As of this week, lockdown is beginning to lift, which is quite exciting. What are you looking forward to most, Grace?
Well, in our very first episode, we discussed how I had waxed my legs. I think a little prematurely. I was waxing them in anticipation of maybe being able to go back onto the tennis court. But I am actually going to be playing tennis tomorrow, which is really exciting. So I waxed my legs again. So
Grace
there you go.
is quite the tennis pro for those who didn't know. One of her
Just really
skills.
like it. And I also really miss the social aspect of playing tennis and all the tennis girls at the club and I just really can't wait. I think it's going to really feel like that kind of semblance of normality has been restored for me.
Grace has actually scheduled a whole week's holiday to play tennis, and the weather forecast looks fantastic.
I am feeling
You'll be able to
so
get those-
smug about this week, and now that the weather is going to be so good, I'm just going to be loving
Get
life.
those waxed legs tan.
Yeah, I know.
It's also going to be starting to get much busier down here where we live in Cornwall, which possibly isn't the feeling with all of the locals, but I am really looking forward to it getting busier. I like that buzz and energy of people, and like it has been so magic to have the beaches to ourselves and have it quiet down here, but like I'm really excited about the contrast of it being really busy and
Just
like
having some more stimulation.
yeah, and all these people down here like really getting to enjoy the beach and our coast. Like they haven't, lots of people have been in like, Bristol and London, they haven't been able to come down and enjoy it, and so they're just going to be like, I spoke to a few people and I'm going to turn up at the beach and just burst into tears because it's going to be so amazing to like be in the sea for the first time.
Yeah, and there was an article this morning in the paper I was reading. I think it was just in the main Times, again about swimming. There's so much coverage on swimming, which is amazing. And one person was saying that because obviously you can book slots at the Lidos and reservoirs in London from
friends.
tomorrow. And one person has booked a slot at 5:45 a.m. because it's like trying to get
That's my
Glastonbury
person.
tickets.
Yeah. So I also have to say, although I'm like really excited about it getting busy down here, as a lifeguard, I'm also a little bit apprehensive about the dangers that's going to bring, because I think this is going to be the busiest summer Cornwall has. And we said that last summer, and this summer is going to be even busier. And, you know, it's just last week, Grace and I were on our evening walk with a little flask of tea and along the coast on the cliff. And the next thing we knew,
Sophie was doing a rescue in the water.
I was stripped down to my bra and leggings and swimming out to rescue someone who had gotten into trouble in a rip.
It was shocking how quickly it turned really dangerous. The ocean is a really scary place, and you can be fine 1 second and then literally within a minute, you're kind of out the back. Your board's washed up. I think this person's surfboard had washed up.
Yeah, they lost their surfboard.
Rocks.
They were stuck in a rip. It was sunset. The tide was coming in. It was quite a dangerous situation. Everything was fine and resolved, and we handed over to the Coast Guard. But yeah, it was one of those situations that it could have gone very wrong very quickly.
And Safety Sophie was,
Sophie, that's my nickname.
You are amazing in a crisis, and I think had it not been for you, because you actually spotted, I think we'd all seen but not necessarily said actually something's wrong about this, whereas you had the confidence to go, I think that situation out there that we're seeing, those people in the water is not okay, and I'm going to go and do something about it. So thank God you did.
Yeah, so Safety Soph just wants to say, if you are heading down to the coast this Easter holiday with our amazing weather forecast, please do enjoy the coast, but, you know, if you can't confidently spot a riptide and you don't know what's going on with tides, like find out, research this stuff, know what's going on, speak to lifeguards, speak to locals, understand it. And it also may sound really obvious, but my partner, who's from Coventry, not the coast, he didn't know this. If you need to call the Coast Guard, if you see someone in trouble, it's just 999 for Coast Guard, same as you would for ambulance or police.
Yeah.
Probably my number one piece of advice.
Yeah. Good, definitely good advice. So yeah, be careful, enjoy the sunshine, and I can't wait. I'm so excited for just
Yay!
a bit more
Sunshine
normal.
and Easter.
Yay! So, okay, on to topic number 1 for today's episode. This is something that was new for me. As I was reading the papers last weekend, I came across this double-page spread on hereditary peers. And the title reads, "Revealed, the truth about the peers who are born to rule." So I guess the first question is, what is a peer?
Yeah, so I consider myself someone who isn't, I don't think I'm politically naive, but when you said let's talk about hereditary peers, I was like, Google, what is a
me
hereditary
too.
peer?
Yeah.
So let's just, Grace, explain it to me.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Explain it to me, unprofessionally.
I'll keep it short and concise.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
So, a peer is simply a member of the House of Lords.
What is the House of Lords?
Well, this is a great question because I think, I knew about the House of the Lords and the House of the Lords. House of Lords and House of Commons, but I guess in my head I just equated them to being sort of the same thing. But the House of Lords is the upper house of the Parliament of the United Kingdom. Membership is by appointment, hereditary or official function. Like the House of Commons, it meets in the Palace of Westminster, and members of the House of Lords are drawn from the peerage, made up of Lords Spiritual and Lords Temporal. I mean,
Reading.
there is so much in the UK
just-
that's based on tradition, and I sort of love that, but this is one of those things that just
Yeah.
seems bonkers.
So I'm going to do this in like Sophie pub language.
Yeah.
We have the House of Commons, which is where our elected MPs sit.
Yes,
And then we have a
elected.
secondary chamber, which is the House of Lords, and they basically get to vote on and shape the laws that the MPs are passing. And it's the people in this House of Lords that we're discussing.
And no one has the crucial thing is that no one has voted for them to be there.
Yeah.
They are there because often, most
Either-
of the time, they have inherited the position from their
Yeah,
father.
so I think
or-
over a tenth of the chamber are hereditary peers. The rest of them are nominated by, I think, the Prime Minister and the Queen.
Yeah.
So Grace, tell me some stats about the hereditary peers.
Yes. So, nearly half, I think it's about 46% or something, went to Eton. The average age is 71. It's not representative of Britain, i.e., we didn't all go to Eton and we're not all in our 70s.
And the ones who didn't go to Eton went to Winchester and Harrow.
Something like that, yeah. But as you were saying, they have the right to amend or change laws on behalf of all of us. They are exclusively men. There is not one woman. And they can claim £323 a day, tax-free, plus travel, for parliamentary work. And 47 million worth of expenses were claimed since 2001. So it's quite like you, I don't consider myself to be politically, in a hole, like under a rock.
We sort of know what's going on.
But it was really new to me, this idea of, wow, this is just so not representative of, firstly, I'm a woman and there's no women represented in this. The amount they're claiming from the taxpayer just seems unfair. And yeah, like I said, a massive expose in the newspaper and actually a follow-up story this weekend as well.
Johnny and I were sat there and we said, can you name, I think there's about 800 people in the House of Lords. We were like, can you, in fact, challenge Grace, can you name, without looking at the newspaper, a single person in the House of Lords?
No.
Do you know which two I managed to name?
Who?
Alan Sugar
Really?
and Seb Coe.
Oh, wow.
They're the only two lords out of 800 I could name.
So one of the interesting things I thought was research from the Times shows that they commonly vote in favour of their own personal interests, i.e. Lord Palmer, that's one, who is 69, is a shareholder in British American Tobacco, that's a company, and he has said that the economy would collapse if smoking was banned, and clearly obviously has voted for it not to be banned, even though it's detrimental to our health. one thing I thought I will mention is that many of the peers do actually favour an end to their presence, and they want elections via proportional representation. So it's not all...
Not first past the post or
Yeah.
this by-election voting that they have now. I think that, I think the lack of ethnic diversity in the House of Lords as a whole, I think there's only 6% that are from minority ethnic groups. And I think I know there's 0 women in the hereditary peers, but I think it's only 28% female in the whole House of Lords.
Yeah.
Like, I think that lack of diversity and representation is impossible to defend. These people are voting on and shaping laws that affect ordinary people like you and me.
Yeah.
And that's pretty
Totally.
crazy. And I think my kind of personal view is that I think it's kind of a bit short-sighted. Like, I totally think it's impossible to defend, and that the hereditary peers is like really symptomatic and indicative of a bygone era and how like not modern our politics are. But I also think just to focus just on the hereditary peers is a bit short-sighted. And actually, if you look at like the absurdity
Words that Sophie can't say.
if you look at the absurdity of the pomp and performance and pageantry that goes on in like the opening of Parliament, I think it all is just showing how archaic our political system is. And I think that, yes, hereditary peers is an issue. It's not the only issue. Look at the way that they communicate in the House of Commons and the House of Lords. Instead of, you've watched it, right? So instead of sitting around in a circle and trying to come to like...
Well, that symbol of the circle is quite a nice...
Yeah, so instead of kind of come to some like progressive discourse to find solutions, because actually that's what we want our government to be doing, is finding solutions. It's like actually the way they communicate is confrontational, it's aggressive, and it's destructive.
Yeah.
And what we need is constructive communication. I think there's nothing modern about the way we do politics in our country, and I think our whole political system needs a serious reform.
And I am quite a traditionalist. Like, I do love tradition, and I love pomp and circumstance and ceremony. When I graduated from university, I had to kneel down and hold the small finger on the left hand of the dean of my college, and I wasn't allowed to. You can't turn your back and walk away. You have to kind of backstep, and
Do you have to get lessons on how to do it?
Yeah, we had to go through.
Just, like all this when they opened the Parliament and this banging with the stick on the door and all this. But
Yeah.
I know, and I'm. It's not that there's something wrong with that as such, but it's all just...
I agree with you.
It's a whole load of time wasting.
Yeah.
Like, we have some serious issues we need to discuss and like find solutions for in this country.
Yeah.
And instead we're like...
Banging on a
instead
door
of,
with
like,
a
let's
stick.
just get on with it. Let's deal with like the flipping crisis that's going on, the refugee crisis, or women's refuges being shut down. So let's actually all just like dress up in fancy outfits and like waft around for a day. And then instead of finding a solution, let's just argue with each other and shout across these benches.
You would have laughed at me so much at university because all we did was dress up in robes and...
I know, but this is also, all these people who went to Eton, this is what they are taught to do at university, right? You're going to like debating school and you're learning how to have these tactical arguments, and you're never actually finding a solution.
But I don't think that tradition... I agree with you that... the way that they conduct themselves within House of Lords and House of Commons could be better and could be more conducive to actually finding solutions to things. But I don't think we also need to say that equates to all tradition being a bad thing.
Yeah. It's not just the tradition. It's just like, I just think it's all indicative. Another word I can't say. Indicative of just how the bygone era of our politics, and how I really think a lot of it needs modernising.
Yeah. Okay. All right, moving on. I know when I'm beaten and when I should not argue with Sophie.
Oh, not at all. Politics.
Let's talk about people that we love on the internet on a lighter note. We wanted to do this because, I don't know,
I think we spend a lot of time on the internet.
We spend a lot of time on the internet, and we also spend a lot of time sharing people's profiles to each other and discussing people that we love or perhaps don't love on the internet.
And also encouraging other people to like... I don't want people to go on Instagram or Twitter or social media and feel like depressed and bad and negative. Like, go on it and find joy and be educated and use it as like a healthy space, which I think you and I are quite good at doing. Thankfully.
Yeah. I mean, my husband always says to me that he marvels at the way I manage to just not disengage, but I brush things off very easily, and I'm quite... I think I'm just quite confident, and I'm quite happy to spend time on social media because I know that, and maybe this is a really privileged thing for me to say, but I know that it doesn't affect my mental health. But then maybe that is to do with the accounts that I follow. So Who do you love on the internet?
You
Who
go first. Who have you
enriches?
got?
Oh, okay.
I feel like yours are going to be fun people.
These people enrich my life. I found this actually very hard because I went through the people that I follow, and I mean, a lot of them, let's be honest, are just like tennis accounts and interiors.
Most of mine are dogs.
I don't really. Obviously I do follow people within my industry, but there's a lot of people who are nutritionists that I don't engage with. I mainly just follow my mates, but there are two accounts that I thought of off the top of my head that immediately came to mind. The first is Imogen Ivy. I had Imogen on my podcast, so listeners of State of Mind will know her very well. Imogen is Australian, living in London, and she is just such a breath of fresh air. She does this thing called walkies, which is basically where she goes for a walk in her... you have a dog, so now you're thinking walkies. She goes for a walk in her neighbourhood, puts music on, and just dances in the street. And
sometimes just in her underwear.
Often she's wearing just her underwear, and she's plus size. She's like big and beautiful and really body positive, body confident. And she's just amazing, and I just love everything about her. And she's very straight talking. Nothing is off the table in terms of topics of conversation.
Say she's an activist in her own right and what she's doing.
Yeah, and she shared on my podcast episode. She shared a very emotional tale of her medical history and how she was basically. I don't know. She was put on this concoction of drugs for depression and anxiety when actually she didn't have those problems, and the result was withdrawal from meds and what that meant for her body, and it was all pretty traumatic and actually really scary. And she's just amazing. And the second person, I just love Hugh Fearnley-Whittingstall. I mean,
I love that that's who you want people to follow.
River Cottage got me through university. So I have always loved him from...
Was River Cottage a TV show?
Yeah, the cooking one.
Hands up, this is another thing that I've never seen. I just know there was a restaurant in Plymouth while I was at uni that I went to with my dad.
Yeah.
So it was delicious.
But he, quite recently, I think, started cold water swimming, and I love his Instagram videos.
Grace is constantly sending me IGTVs of Hugh in an icy pond.
And I might ask Nick if I can insert a clip from one of his videos here, but he's so cute.
I feel like you'd make him a lord in the House of Peers if you could.
Yes.
Sir Hugh.
Yes.
Sounds quite good, actually. Maybe he is already a sir.
Anyway, so I love both of those two accounts. And the last thing I want to say was that there are some people that I follow that I'm not sure why I follow them, but I think it's because of this idea that actually we're all really fascinated in each other's lives. And although, go on.
Well, we kind of talked about this earlier, but it's like you're not following them because you love them or you love their content,
or even agree with anything that.
But it's also not a hate follow. Like you're not following them because you don't like them. It's just like there's some intrigue around like people, and for me, like how different people are to me and how they live their lives. It's just like another world.
Yeah. Who are yours?
Okay, so I also follow loads of funny accounts that bring me loads of joy, like, I don't know, and lots of dogs. Belbo the Adventure Pooch.
Yes.
Celeste Barber, the Inspired and Employed.
Oh, we need Celeste Barber.
Yeah, she's
of
great.
Course.
But the two that I wanted to highlight are two that are educators. And these are women who, when I go on my Instagram, every single day I learn from them and I come away like really inspired. So the first is La La La, Let Me Explain. I actually don't know. I think that she is anonymous, so I don't know who she actually is, her real name. She's a sex and dating educator, and she works as a social worker. She's worked as a social worker for years. And she talks about topics like the orgasm gap, safeguarding children, stigma around STIs. Her Instagram feed is all about the captions. So don't just look at the pictures, because often it'll be a picture of like a meme that's going around, and in the caption, she fully dissects that. She uses great phrases. She writes a column for OK Magazine as well, and I sent you one the other day, and she uses phrases like catching feelings. She talks about fuckboys and ghosting and all this kind of like current stuff that's going on. I know I talked about the clitoris as a vagina fact on the episode last week, and she's got a highlight on her story all about the clitoris. It's super informative. So yeah, and she also has her own podcast, and I really do, like, every day I learn something new from her. Really interesting. And the second is Michaela Loach. She's a climate justice and anti-racism activist. Her feed's really informative, but mostly she just brings me a lot of joy. Like, she has her own podcast. This week she had Layla F. Saad, who's the author of Me and White Supremacy. So it's super amazing information and she's a wealth of knowledge. But my favourite videos are just like her and her mum dancing. Like it's just, I look through it and not only am I learning, but it's just bringing like happiness and positivity.
Well, for me, that's the reason why I'm on Instagram. And that's, I think, the reason why I don't really post much nutritional therapy content. Because if you go on my feed, like, yes, I'm a professional, but all my posts are just of me swimming or... And I don't know. I think for me that's what I want social media and the online world to be, somewhere that does bring me joy.
Educates you and brings you joy.
Yeah, I also like following this person called Sophie Hellyer.
Oh, nice. We will in the show notes we'll link those favourite accounts so you can find them if you want to.
Yeah.
Time for a jingle.
Vagina,
Vulva,
labia,
clitoris,
Notorious.
VAG.
vagina facts.
Okay, so I'm going to go first because I have one admission here. This section is actually mistitled. We didn't really think about it when we were making our jingle. What it really should be called is vulva and vagina facts.
Yes. Female anatomy facts.
This is like my fact this week is super basic and I'm hoping most of you know it. It's like GCSE level and below. And I guess actually really it's more of a lesson in the language we use than the anatomy. But just to clear this up, the vagina is basically the internal part. So it's like the muscular passageway that opens at one end and ends at the cervix. And that's the part we talked about last week that cleans itself. And then the vulva is the external part, hair and flaps.
This is where you say labia instead
inner and
of...
outer labia, the glans clitoris, the clitoral hood, the urethral opening, and the vaginal opening, and the perineum. And yeah, as we said last week, the vulva, it just also needs cleaning with just hot water. If you are using any soap around your flaps, make sure it's mild and fragrance free. But yeah, I think it's very common that people, I think this is young people and old people, like a lot of people say vagina when they mean vulva. And it's really misused and it's like super basic. We're not going around calling the cock balls. Like we know the difference of male parts. So let's label the female parts correctly. And so although this segment's called Vagina Facts, they will often be vulva facts.
Excellent. And my vagina fact, and it is to do with the vagina, not the vulva, is that you can't lose things inside your vagina. I think this is one of those things that gets sort of fear-mongered in glossy mags and the such like. And I think as women, we're always just a bit terrified of potentially losing a tampon inside us or something going missing.
I get a lot of DMs from people who are using a menstrual cup for the first time and they're terrified it's going to get lost inside them.
Yeah.
It can't happen.
It can't happen. So
not going anywhere.
The vagina is bound at the inner end by the cervix and by the vagina's own tissue, which basically means that your vagina is not connected to another area of your body. So at the top you have the cervix and nothing can get through there unless you're pushing a baby out. So if you have used a tampon and you can't feel it, it's still in there, it needs to come out, and just don't hesitate to go to your GP. I did find one scary story on the internet, and I'm sure there's many more, where someone did lose a tampon inside their vagina. Obviously it didn't go anywhere, it was still there, but she literally just could not feel it. It had been pushed right up to the top of her cervix by her boyfriend. Yep. And eventually 3 months later...
By her boyfriend. That makes it sound like he just went in with his hand and just poked it right out there.
And she even had internal ultrasounds and everything because she was having spotting and she didn't know why. And eventually 3 months later went to a gynecologist who inserted a speculum and pulled out a tampon.
So things can't get lost, but they could potentially get out of a tampon could get out of
it
reach
could go missing
if you're very unlucky, but a menstrual cup is pretty much not going to go anywhere. And yeah, like Grace said, if you're in doubt or scared or having any struggles, call 111, call your GP, like don't be scared. Doctors deal with this stuff all the time.
Yeah, so there you go. You can't lose stuff in your vagina. This episode is sponsored by Exhale Coffee. Launched in lockdown 2020, Exhale is the UK's first specialty coffee to be sourced and roasted specifically to maximise its health benefits. We know that coffee has really great associated health benefits, and this has to do with its polyphenol content. That's plant chemicals to you and I. Polyphenols are found in fruits and veggies, blueberries, green tea, etc., and are important for maintaining good gut health and nutrient levels within the body. So why are all coffees not created equal? Firstly, coffee is a really hard crop to grow, and for that reason, most companies choose to spray their crops with pesticides to get a higher yield. Those pesticides then end up in your flat white, which is not particularly helpful. Exhale Coffee is organic, and their decaf uses the water pressure method to gently extract the caffeine from the beans, so no nasty chemicals there either. Their journey to finding the best beans involved 9 rounds of lab testing at independent labs across Europe, and they then found a coffee that tested 40% higher in polyphenols, specifically chlorogenic acid, than any other in an online list of 45. It is one of the richest sources of niacin in our diet and is free from any nasties including mycotoxins, pesticides, toxins and heavy metals. One of the coolest things, I think, is that Exhale tested their coffee's antioxidant power, and when comparing it to some of the healthiest foods available in the supermarket, 1 cup of Exhale coffee had the equivalent antioxidant power of 12 punnets of blueberries, 55 oranges, or 1.8 kilograms of kale. Aside from all of this, it's the tastiest coffee I've ever brewed. If you would like to set up a coffee delivery subscription, just head over to their website and use the code TWOSCOMPANY, all in capitals, which will give you 40% off the first bag in your subscription, plus free delivery. They roast and grind every Monday and post your order on a Tuesday, so it's always super fresh. So, use the code TWOSCOMPANY, all in capitals, for 40% off. Just head to exhalecoffee.com. Thank you very much to Exhale.
So, what have you been reading and watching this week, Grace? Anything to tell us about?
So, yes, I actually would like to read you an article.
She's going to read it. Yes, I haven't read this yet. I've been saving it for Grace to read it to me.
I'm going to read the whole piece, and I asked Sophie if I could do this before, and the reason is that I highlighted so many quotes it just made sense to read the whole thing. This is A Life in the Day. Shouldn't it be Day in the Life? Anyway, that's what it's called. A Life in the Day.
That is...
it's a play on words. Nick
I
saying
don't get it. I'm not clever enough.
It's a play on words. Okay, Day in the Life. Orlando Bloom, last weekend in the Sunday Times magazine. This is a feature that they run every week, and Orlando gave his thoughts. And I'm just going to read this to you because it's just fantastic. I'm laughing really. I wake up at around 6:30. I have a smart Ring sleep tracker, and the first thing I do is look at the app to see if I've had a good sleep and check my readiness for the day.
Because you couldn't possibly just tell by waking up
No.
and going, oh, I feel like I had a good sleep.
Then I check on my daughter, who's usually up and cooing in her cot. My fiancée, Katy Perry, needs her sleep, so I try to let her have a lie-in. Daisy's a very happy baby. I'll kiss her and we'll spend some time connecting. I'll do eye-gazing with her and sing songs. Daddy loves his Daisy Dove, so she knows who Daddy is. My son's first word was mama, but Daisy said dada. It's amazing to be a father again. There's less anxiety this time and more presence. I'm a Capricorn, so I crave routine. Fortunately, my partner is really into that too. I chant for 20 minutes every day, religiously. We shouldn't make fun of Buddhism. I've had a Buddhist practice since I was 16, so that's infiltrated my whole being. I'll read a bit of Buddhism and then I'll type it up and add it to my Instagram story. Add it to my Instagram stories.
I like a lot of Buddhism.
Yeah.
Okay, he's putting it on his Instagram.
Other than that, I won't look at my phone yet. I don't want to be sucked into the black hole of social media, but obviously don't post on your stories, mate. I like to earn my breakfast, so I'll just have some greens powders that I mix with brain octane oil, a collagen powder for my hair and nails, and some protein.
Wait, so hold on. He likes to earn his breakfast, but then he's earned some powder.
So his real breakfast comes later. He just has some powders for his hair and nails.
Oh, I mean, he has great hair and nails.
And then he says, it's all quite LA, really. Then I'll go for a hike while I listen to some Nirvana or Stone Temple Pilots. By 9 a.m, it's breakfast, which is usually porridge, a little hazelnut milk, cinnamon, vanilla paste, hazelnuts, goji berries, a vegan protein powder, and a cup of PG Tips. I'm 90% plant-based, so I'll only eat a really good piece of red meat maybe once a month. I sometimes look at a cow and think, that's the most beautiful thing ever. At some point in time, we'll look back and not be able to believe we used to eat meat. I also sometimes look at cows.
I often look at cows and think they're so scary. You know that cows kill more people in the UK every year than sharks do worldwide.
Really?
Cows are scary, guys. I look at cows and think, ooh, I'm not crossing that field.
My son spends half his time with me.
Oh my God, it's not over.
No. And half with my ex-wife. If he's with us, I get him breakfast before school. Then I'll have a shower and get dressed. I like to make an effort. No tracksuit bottoms. I have a deal with Amazon where I work on projects exclusively for them. I spend a lot of my time dreaming about roles for myself and others. For minorities and women. I'm trying to be a voice for everybody. I had this remarkable opening chapter to my career, for which I was only semi-present. Without my Buddhist practice, I could have easily come off the rails. I've been changing the narrative in my head and feel that I can be the driver of my train. I can set it alight, but I can get the fire crew and put it out. Great metaphor. I'm nearly done. As a Brit and a parent living in America through this election cycle, I was very challenged. The news is no longer salacious, but there's lots of work to be done. I was super proud of my girl. Perry performed at President Biden's inauguration. Lunch is mostly plant-based again, vegetables or a stew. I will cook at times, but otherwise there's a team of people. Then I'll have a Zoom and read scripts. During COVID, I started building Lego again. I dip in and out while I work. I build mostly cars and find the methodical nature of creating this little thing makes me feel like I'm achieving something else. Then I'll do a heavy weights session for an hour, something to exhaust me. We'll put the baby to bed, then it's dinner time. After that, I like to watch a movie or documentary for work. I aim to get to bed by 11. If I get 8 hours sleep, I'm happy, and so is my sleep tracker. Time is so precious.
Did you say 8 p.m?
I was always giving my time to other people before. Now I have the space to dream. Thank you, Orlando.
Does he go to bed at 8 p.m?
No, he gets 8 hours sleep, and then his sleep tracker is
That's
happy.
more sleep than me.
So I just loved that, everything
he's
about
obviously
it.
living in quite a privileged, wafty world.
I
What
think
do have
Pandora Sykes would have a lot to say about that.
I actually, though, that one of the bits that I actually quite appreciated about him saying that he wasn't that present for the first half of his career and that Buddhism has kind of given him that. And I know that sounds like really wafty and twatty, but actually sounds like he's just trying to be a good guy. From the sounds of that, like he's actually like kind of conscious and aware and trying to be a good guy, even if he lives in a completely different world to us.
Even if Billie Eilish doesn't know who he is.
I know,
as we saw in the documentary. Apparently, people don't fancy Orlando Bloom anymore. He's passé now.
Oh, we are quite old though, Grace.
Yeah, but I mean, in Pirates of the Caribbean, I did fancy him.
God, did I fancy him then? No, I think it was all Johnny Depp, wasn't it?
Yeah, but that's problematical these days, isn't it? Moving on.
So I read a beautiful piece in The Guardian this week by Wendell Stevenson, I hope I pronounced that right, about how cold water swimming helped her deal with grief and a broken heart. I will warn, it's a beautiful piece, but it is a long read, so make a pot of tea for the read.
Yep.
Took me a while, but I loved it. What I also loved is the fact that it talked about how for years scientists have been more focused on the dangers of cold water swimming than its benefits. So most of the studies have been focused on drowning and hypothermia and not actually how good cold water can be for you. And there's no doubt that cold water provokes changes of hormones and chemicals like adrenaline and dopamine, serotonin and endorphins. And we know that these affect metabolism and can reduce inflammation. Which is obviously quite interesting because there's a lot of illnesses that are caused by inflammation, like inflammatory bowel disease, diabetes, Alzheimer's, depression. But at the moment, actually, the research, people always ask me, what's the benefits of cold water swimming? At the moment, all the research is anecdotal and it's quite thin. The basic theory is that getting used to cold water means that you're better able to tolerate other stressful environments, which you said has a...
This is called hormesis, and I write about this whenever someone asks me to do a blog post about the benefits of cold water swimming. And essentially, it's the concept that a stress or anything applied in a small amount can be beneficial to the body, but the same thing applied in a large amount could be fatal. So with a vaccine, for example, you give a small amount to induce an antibody immune response from the body that teaches us how to cope with that. But if you were to inject a way larger amount, it would be fatal. Exercise exercise is a hormetic stressor, breath work is a hormetic stressor. So yeah, essentially it's a concept that as humans, although we have evolved over centuries, we still have a very primitive stress response and only one stress response. But these days we have multiple stressors.
So when you go in cold water and your body gets used to like going into that cold water and dealing with that stress on your body doesn't know the difference between the stress of work, the stress of being in traffic, the stress of being in cold
it thinks
water.
it's
just
being
it's
attacked.
a stress report.
Yeah.
So if you get used to dealing with stress, you get used to dealing with stress, right? So that's one of the theories around cold water swimming.
Yeah, and anecdotally, people say that they feel calmer and more in control of the day when they've had a cold swim in the morning.
There's a medical study coming out in the British Medical British Medical Journal in the next couple of months that looks at cold water swimming and depression specifically. So I'm quite excited about that.
One thing I would say that I think is really important to mention from a health perspective is that it's not a cure for everything. And like you were saying, it calms inflammation. The reason it does that is because those stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline, they are anti-inflammatory. But if you have a pre-existing condition or if you are chronically sick, sometimes you don't actually want to induce those stress hormones because actually what you're trying to do is maintain balance, keep everything stable so that your body can just heal and be in that rest and digest phase. So when I was really chronically sick a few years ago, I would go for a cold water swim and immediately afterwards I would get flare-ups of itchy symptoms, histamine intolerance, blood sugar would be all over the place, and it actually made me worse for a time, so I had to back off.
I know for Johnny it triggers his psoriasis as well. So,
because it's stress.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the reasons why the actual solid science and these medical journals are so important, because cold water swimming is amazing, but it's not going to be amazing for everyone, and we really need a deeper understanding of the benefits of it and who it's beneficial for. And I think regardless of that science not being there, I think that you and I can both attest to its social benefits and the blue health benefits of being outdoors and community.
Blue space,
There's a quote I just wanted to read from Wendell's piece that really resonated with me, talking of one of the women she swims with. She told me that even after 20 years of swimming, she still surprised herself every time she went in. I can be walking the dog and wrapped up in a coat and scarf and hat, and then 5 minutes later, I'm on the beach in nothing but a swimming costume. It's almost as if I don't know how this happens. It's curious. When I'm in the sea, I'm a mystery to myself. I have no idea how I got here, or why, or what I'm doing. I am only swimming, and I am amazed.
Yeah, it's so true, isn't it? Because
we'll be on the beach and our drive's going, oh, it's bloody freezing, oh, it's horrible.
Yeah.
And literally the next thing I know, somehow we're all like basically naked jumping in the sea. Like, how did we get here?
And it's so funny because I always feel like taking off my clothes is going to be awful and freezing, and it never is.
No, it's all the anticipation of it is always the like only bad, negative, scary.
Anyway, do go and have a read of that. We'll pop it in the show notes. It is, as Sophie said, an absolutely lovely read.
Any other recommendations from you?
I watched the first episode of Line of Duty, as did the rest of the UK population.
Bar Sophie Hellyer, who's never seen Line of Duty.
So Sophie's never seen it. So I explained to her what went down after episode 1. So basically, Line of Duty is
it's a police drama,
drama in which an anti-corruption unit investigate police members within the police force who are corrupt, bent coppers, as they say. And in this first episode, they kept saying "chiz," which obviously sounds a bit like jizz, and
shiz.
And shiz. And Nick and I enjoyed the episode, but we didn't have a clue what was going on because they use all these acronyms for things. So I thought I would give Sophie a little test.
She's going to test me. And I will say that I have a family member in the police, so I feel like I should have a head start, but maybe not.
Anyway, what I thought was quite funny was that after the episode, because Twitter was going mental during the episode, the BBC announcer had to clarify after the episode finished what chiz meant. So Sophie, what do you think chiz means? CHIS.
Right, the C's going to mean crime or criminal.
No.
Oh God.
I don't think you're going to get it.
Something investigation.
Maybe. It's a covert human intelligence source.
Okay, I would not have known that.
I mean, there's so many of these acronyms. I do wonder whether the person that writes it, I think it's Jed Mercurio, just
he like being in the
having
police
fun
for 50 years, and maybe.
Or he's just having
or
fun,
he just
isn't
assumes
he?
everyone knows.
How about GBH?
grievous bodily harm.
Yes. AFO. Authorised Firearms Officer.
Oh.
And SIO.
Search.
Senior Investigating Officer.
I should know this because I think my sister is like detective.
She must love
inspector.
Line of Duty. She's probably the only person that knows what's going on.
I always
half the
think of
time.
my sister a bit like a real life. We probably shouldn't talk about her because she'll kick me. But she's like a real life Gillian Anderson in one of those police dramas.
I think that's just so amazing. Anyway, highly recommend. It's lots of fun.
And I also, we're recording on a Sunday, and on Sunday mornings, I get a newsletter from my friend Kat Sarsfield, who writes a newsletter called Since No One Asked. And
Snower for short.
Snower. It's a weekly newsletter, and she's basically weaves together food and love stories in a witty millennial way. And I was going to say it's like having a cup of tea with a friend reading it, but actually maybe it's more like having a gin and tonic with a friend.
Yeah, I mean,
Reading
Kat is by trade a writer, but she's also a fantastic chef. And
when you subscribe, you get a recipe for sad pasta. So I recommend that everyone gets that one. It's a good little read. But last week's was a gem, and I just wanted to read a quote from it that kind of sets the tone of Kat's
Sorry,
newsletter.
Kat, if we're embarrassing you.
It's been 4 days since I sheepishly strolled into A&E and told reception that I had sliced my hand with a knife because of an avocado. Yes, I'm that millennial. In the words and spirit of Carrie Bradshaw, I couldn't help but wonder if there was a tenuous link I could make between this injury and life in general. And it wasn't until I really inspected the photo above, the photos of like an avocado and some blood and a knife, that I realised it was a perfect visual description of heartbreak. The knife, toxic X's that speared my soft stone of a heart, spilled blood, and in the background, some kimbap wrapped in foil, representing the comfort food whenever my heart splits open again.
Oh, she's so great.
Yeah.
I love Kat, and you can, I think subscribe. You can listen to her also on my podcast, and we might interview her on this one about food and love and food stories and cooking. And
So after both agreeing that Kat's a legend, what do we disagree on? Oat milk.
oh, cinnamon,
Ugh, cinnamon.
veganism,
Me. Sun cream.
yes, sun cream,
Using a towel.
dirt in general. Agree to disagree.
Things we disagree on.
Agree to disagree.
Things we disagree on.
So I am really happy that we are talking about this. You guys may have seen on Sophie Hellyer's Instagram stories that she is quite a fan of, drumroll please, a crisp sandwich.
Okay, pulled up here. Grace, hand me your notes. I don't have notes, but I'm going to read this directly from the show notes. Things we disagree on. Crisp sandwiches, probably the best food on the planet. I wrote that. Grace wrote, I question whether it can be classified as food at all. Brackets, laughing emoji, close bracket.
Well, see, this is the thing, Sophie. You have a lot of influence on social media, and I feel like a crisp sandwich is not food.
Right, I have to say that I think I'm really lucky. I have a really healthy relationship with food. Most of my diet's pretty good. You know, I eat organic, processed, mostly veggie food. And I think that to have a crisp sandwich once a week that I enjoy is pretty harmless. And that actually for me to start obsessing over everything I eat and to take things like that out of my diet that are just a bit of fun and bring me joy, for me it's healthy to just dabble in a crisp sandwich.
So I understand that point of view. Of course I do. But I just question whether something else in your sandwich would, one, be yummier, and two, healthier. What about like cheese, tomato, pickle, lettuce, mayonnaise?
I'm sorry, but there is no sandwich as good as white bread, butter, and salt and vinegar crisps.
Well, agree to disagree. There you go.
to disagree.
Let us know your thoughts in the old comments. Wait, you can't comment on a podcast.
No.
Feel free to slide into the DMs then.
You can email us, shiz, SHIZ, @gmail.com. But don't email us telling me that crisp sandwiches are rubbish, and do not tell me to put ketchup or brown sauce in it.
I will say this. When I was younger, I was quite partial to the crisps and chocolate combo. that kind of salty and sweet. Maybe you should put some chocolate in your crisp sandwiches, Sophie.
God. Unsolicited advice on my crisp sandwich.
You've got mail.
We had a lot of questions this week about our hair and swimming.
Did we?
was
I
like
haven't
3 or
checked the
4
mailbag. Thanks for going through
Questions that were so for example, people who are swimming sometimes more than once a day are asking, do you use shampoo and conditioner after every swim, and how do we look after our hair?
I mean,
feel
I
like
probably use shampoo once a week.
we have quite different hair as well, so my hair is like very fine and dry.
Yours gets really knotty from swimming,
and
whereas...
what's your, how do you look after your hair, Grace?
Well, as a side note, I would like listeners to know that I currently have a mullet.
Mullets are trendy.
Because I got my hair cut really short in lockdown, and Joe, who is both of our hairstylists and amazingly also has a feature in Sunday Times Style magazine today at Yoke Salon in Plymouth, cleverly cut the back of my hair to be slightly shorter so that it didn't kind of fall on my neck when it was really short. Now, oh no, the back was longer. Yes.
Several months later.
Several months later during lockdown, my hair has grown out and I have a mullet. But in terms of maintenance, I think I'm quite lucky. It doesn't get knotty. So I just go for a swim and then I just...
So you're super low maintenance. You only shampoo it like once a week.
Yeah.
So
I use conditioner when I wash my hair.
I only learned this at the start of the first lockdown. I started experimenting. So previously, yes, if I was surfing and swimming, like I'd wake up and have a shower, then go swimming and have a shower, then go surfing and have a shower. And sometimes my hair was getting shampooed and conditioned like 3 times a day.
Prob's not good for all those natural oils, mate.
No, I mean I do use obviously like nice, natural, lovely shampoos, but I started experimenting following the hair bros on Instagram with not washing my hair at the start of the first lockdown. So now if I go in salt water or the swimming pool, basically what I do is I just rinse it with water.
Yeah.
And I probably shampoo and condition my hair now twice a week. And the other times when it gets wet, I just rinse it.
Yeah.
A couple of products that have been a lifesaver for me. I use the Pureology shampoo and conditioner hydrate range. The We Are Scented. This is a product I got it and I was like, what the hell is this for? I don't need this. Product I never knew I needed that I'm addicted to. We Are Scented scalp. Is that how you say scalp? Scalp oil.
Oh, yeah.
It's amazing. And then I've also been taking vitamins. There's We Are Scented Do Some and JS Health Do Some, which like to help your hair growth. And I think I need all those things because otherwise my hair snaps right out.
I would argue that if you have, your diet is what you need for good hair and nail growth.
Yeah,
And if
well,
you're eating
those
crisp
vitamins.
Sandwiches, Sophie, you're probably not getting your hair nutrients.
I'm evening it out with hair
I love how
vitamins.
this has come full circle for me.
One more question.
Yeah.
And then we'll wrap it up, I think. Had a couple of people say, can we do a weekly podcast?
No.
No. It's actually a lot of work doing a podcast.
It's a lot. And I have
Not to
another
whinge about.
podcast.
Yeah, it's like I love doing the podcast. It's great to hang out with you. It's great to have a chat. It's great to making sure that we're reading what's going on in the news and staying up to date on topics. But actually putting the whole thing together and getting it out there is a lot of work. So for now, it's fortnightly.
Yes. If it ends up that we are doing spectacularly well and our podcast is uber mega famous, maybe
if we
it'll
somehow
become
manage to reimburse our time.
Yeah. It also, and editing, it takes a toll on Nick Kingswell.
And we have to basically pay our, we need to raise some funds to pay our jingle creator.
Yeah. Any ideas for jingles? Pop them in the mailbag.
Yeah, awesome. Episode 3 in the bag.
It's a wrap. Thank you so much again for tuning in to Two's Company. I can't believe we're already on episode 3. If you are enjoying the podcast, please do leave us a 5-star review on the Apple Podcast app and a cheeky little written review because we really like to read them. Okay, thanks. Bye.
Grace is so good at outros.
Nailed it.